the rivalry between the two franchises in Los Angeles, talking about the Clippers as well as the Lakers. For the Lakers, it's another disappointing start to the season. Remember, they dropped game one against, the Warriors on the opening night of the NBA, and that was their sixth successive loss to the start of the NBA season over the last, 6 years. This time around, they're now two losses into the season, having lost to the Clippers by 103 to 97 points. That ended, and it was a game that saw the return of Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers talisman, who came off the bench to score 14 points in that game. You had George Wall as well having his debut for the LA Clippers, getting 15 points, just as Paul George as well was able to get 15 points. And they were just able to get past the Lakers. For the Lakers, LeBron James was held to a meager 20 points, having started against the Warriors with 31 points. And you also had Anthony Davis limited as well to 25 points, while it was Lonnie Walker the fourth who top scored for the Lakers with 26 points. For the Lakers, there's so much to do when it comes to Darwin Ham, who is the head coach of the Lakers, in terms of adjusting the roster and ensuring that they have a squad able to compete. You have Russell Westbrook also having one of those terrible games, just as he had for so many parts last season. He had 2 points all through the duration of the game, and there are question marks regarding the possibility of Russell Westbrook being able to fit into this team. So the big question is, will Russell Westbrook be dropped by Darwin Ham, or will he have more chances going into the season? Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and 2 games in, there are still 80 games left to play for the Lakers. The Lakers couldn't make the playoff last season. They'll be looking to make one this time around, but Russell Westbrook will also need to step up and contribute his own quota to the Lakers team, especially in terms of the other big two or big three members, talking about LeBron James as well as Anthony Davis. It will be intriguing to see how it fares in the season, but it's not looking good for Westbrook and the Lakers with a 0-2 start to the season in terms of record. For the Clippers, it's all about health. If Kawhi Leonard, George Wall, as well as Paul George are all healthy, then they will fancy their chances of making the playoffs and even making a deep run, talking about the postseason. Let's still talk basketball, but this time around, let's turn our attention to the 76ers. Yes, Philadelphia 76ers were at home and welcomed the Milwaukee Bucks. That's the former champions of the NBA. This time around, James Harden starred once again, scoring 31 points, but that wasn't enough, as Giannis Antetokounmpo was able to lead the Bucks past the Warriors 90 to 88 points. That ended. It was a comeback. There was a threat of a comeback for the 76ers before Giannis came up with decisive blocks to ensure that it was the Bucks who started their season, or their season on a very good note. For James Harden, he scored 35 points in game on match day 1, and he just this morning was able to back that up once again with another heroic performance. 31 points he contributed, but he couldn't get the needed support from reigning top scorer, talking about Joel Embiid, who was the highest scoring player in the NBA last season. Embiid was restricted to just 15 points, as the Bucks had a very good defensive play on him. You also had Tyrese Maxey restricted to 15 points as well, and this contributed immensely to the 76ers dropping that game. The 76ers, just like the Lakers, have lost their first 2 games of the season and have a 0-2 record when it comes to the start of the season. For the Bucks, you had Giannis Antetokounmpo with 21 points and 13 rebounds. And you also had Brooks Lopez scoring 17 points for them to guide them through. And the Bucks will be looking to reclaim the title they lost to the Warriors last season. Let's turn our attention now to the Premier League. We had action yesterday, and it had to do with Fulham at Craven Cottage leading, or winning rather, by 3-0. But what's more decisive is that Steven Gerrard, as a result of that loss, has now lost his job, as Aston Villa sacked him as their manager after the 3-0 loss. And it must be said, it is a well-deserved loss for Aston Villa. They were second on the night of virtually everything, and the loss of Douglas Luiz to in terms of expulsion, the red card it, received did not even help matters any bit. Mitrovic once again scoring from the spot, proving that he is the go-to man when it comes to Fulham and goals. Overall, it's a very impressive performance from Fulham, and they can definitely fancy their chances of retaining Premier League status next season. It's early days, but hey, 10 games into the season, they've shown that they have what it takes to compete with the big boys in the Premier League as well as retain their Premier League status. For Aston Villa, the struggle continues. Unfortunately, it's a new man who will be at the helm of affairs on an interim basis as well as going forward. Steven Gerrard suffering is a dismal stint at Aston Villa when considered the win-to-loss ratio. You know why he had to go. This season especially, they've not fared so well, especially towards the end of last season as well, when they lost steam, unlike when Gerard just arrived. It will be interesting to see who takes the job and how he's able to reinvent the wheel at Villa Park. Douglas Luiz will be missed for 3 games as a result of the expulsion, and that also compounds their options when it comes to midfield options going forward, and they still have more difficult games to play. It's definitely not a good time to be an Aston Villa fan, but for Fulham, there's so much to rejoice. Talking about another team that has so much to be thankful for at this time, that's Leicester City. They've started the season on a very, very terrible note considering their lofty standards over the last 5-6 years in the Premier League. But they got a win yesterday against Leeds United by 2-0. That ended an own goal, got them up and running before you had Harvey Barnes scoring a neat finish to ensure that Leicester City are now off the foot of the table. They're still within the relegation zone, but the win definitely is a good way to propel them out of the relegation battle, as it were. It's early days, but we have 28 games left in the Premier League this season, and Leicester City need every win they can get at this point in time to be able to push possibly for a European slot, maybe the European Conference League spot, as it were. But in terms of the quality of the side, you think they are good enough to retain Premier League status, but they've not recruited well during the summer, and injury woes to the likes of Vardy and Matson at some point hasn't even helped matters. So the match itself against Leeds United, they were in a very good form. They played so well. It was a deserved win. And for Jesse Marsh, that's the coach of Leeds United, Jesse Marsh, he has said that he will try as much as possible to put a stop to the rot, because Leeds United are also going through a very terrible stretch at this time in terms of winless streak. So it's something we'll be looking at correcting in due time. Talking about the Premier League, we have matches as well this weekend. Remember, from the midweek matches we now have the match day 11 as well. The highlight of match day 11 has to be Chelsea against Manchester United at Stamford Bridge. That's a match everyone is looking forward to, because it's team number 4 against team number 5. Talking about the two teams, Chelsea are currently 4th spot in the Premier League, on the Premier League table, just a point above their rivals Manchester United, who are 5th. And for Manchester United, you know quite well that Cristiano Ronaldo will not be playing in this match, as he's facing disciplinary action disciplinary measures for his action during the match against Spurs at Old Trafford midweek, where he stormed out of the stadium before the match was completed because he was an unused substitute. In fact, revelations or information later emerged that he refused to come on as a sub towards the end of that match, and as a result of that, you now have Erik ten Hag, the coach of Manchester United, punishing him by dropping him out of the squad. And he would also be training alone at this time at Carrington Road, where Manchester United have their training base. It will be intriguing to see how this is resolved in the coming days. For Cristiano Ronaldo, a player of his stature, it's quite understandable he's frustrated that he's not getting enough playing time, or he's been kept on the bench ahead of ahead of the likes of Rashford as well as Martial, who are getting more playing time. But again, Ronaldo is 38, so it's what it is. Is at the twilight of his career. I'm sure there should be some resolution of some sort, but do not be surprised if by January Ronaldo leaves Manchester United. For the match itself, you have Chelsea at home, and for Graham Potter, they will be looking to rebound, from the draw against Brentford, which cut short their winning streak. And this time around, it's another difficult encounter. Manchester United looked like they've turned the corner around completely, and a new team who have, the momentum going. Anyone who wins this would solidify the fourth spot. If Manchester United emerges victorious, they would replace Chelsea as the fourth place team in England, while Chelsea would drop out of the Champions League zone. So for both teams, it's not about the title at this time. It's all about maintaining, Champions League hopes for next season. And Chelsea at home under Graham Potter will be looking to make it count. For Chelsea Football Club, the only worry is that the options are limited in the middle of the park. We hear that Kovacic, is still out, but we'll see how that pans out in terms of, being available for the match itself. Remember Kante, the news came out about 2 days ago that will be out till for 4 months, as a result of surgery. So let's see how this fares for both teams going into that classic. Away from there, let's talk about Liverpool. Yes, Liverpool will also be playing, and they'll be taking on Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest away from home. For Liverpool, the last 2 matches have been a bit of a struggle in terms of goals. Not a lack of attempts, but rather it's all about being clinical in front of goal. Against Manchester City, yes, that was a difficult game, but they were able to win by lone goal. And you also had against West Ham midweek, it was Darwin Núñez's header that also got them the victory. So it's about clean sheets at this time, as well as, being able to put the ball at the back of the net. Diogo Jota apparently won't be in this one due to the calf injury sustained, which has ruled him out of the World Cup. So you expect Darwin Núñez to also lead the lines once again when it comes to Liverpool. I'm trying to get another 3 points for Nottingham Forest. For Nottingham Forest, they're at the bottom of the Premier League standings, and it's not good for them, as it looks like they are battling relegation big time and may just be demoted in the first time of asking. For Nottingham Forest as well, you have to look at the way they recruited. 25 players came in as a result of, several players leaving the club, and they're just yet to get themselves, together in terms of that unity within the squad. This may just count against them, but Liverpool definitely firm favorites to nick this.